Ray Stevenson, the Northern Irish actor who's arguably best known for playing Volstagg in Marvel's Thor movies, has died at the age of 58, Variety has confirmed. Details about the cause of Stevenson's death are unknown at the time of this writing, but the news was verified by his publicist. As documented by the Rep, the actor was born in Lisburn, Northern Ireland, on May 25, 1964, and he moved to England with his family when he was 8 years old. He attended the Bristol Old Vic Theatre School, graduating when he was 29, before pursuing a career on the screen and stage. After making a name for himself on shows such as A Woman's Guide to Adultery and A Dwelling Place, Stevenson got his big break after starring in The Theory of Flight in 1998, which was his first feature role. In 2004, he joined the cast of King Arthur, and his Hollywood career took off from there, leading to roles in some of the most high-profile franchises in history. Ray Stevenson had a storied career in film and television. He was a renowned character actor whose list of credits boasts everything from blockbusters to hit TV shows, but his work with Marvel helped turn him into a household name. He played the Asgardian adventurer Volstagg in Thor in the sequels Thor: The Dark World and Thor: Ragnarok. The character was a member of the Warriors 3 and friendly with the titular Norse god and his brother Loki. Of course, Volstagg isn't the only Marvel role that Stevenson brought to life, though his first foray into superhero movies wasn't as family-friendly as the Thor films. In 2008, he portrayed Frank Castle in Lexi Alexander's ultra-violent Punisher: Warzone, an underappreciated actioner that has gained many fans in cult movie circles. While John Bernthal and Thomas Jane's takes on Marvel's beloved violent vigilante are perhaps more widely known, Stevenson's is arguably the truest to the comics. Stevenson also had a recurring role in the Divergent series and the Scott Adkins-led Accident Man saga. Most recently, the actor played the antagonist in RRR, and fans can look forward to seeing him posthumously in the movie's 1242, Gateway to the West and Casino in Ischia. That said, Stevenson also deserves to be remembered for his television work, which includes Star Wars projects and acclaimed historical dramas. Ray Stevenson's on-screen roles began in television, and he consistently worked in the medium throughout his career. He famously played the Roman soldier Titus Pullo on HBO's historical drama Rome from 2005 until 2007. The series won 7 Emmy Awards during its 22-episode run, and Stevenson's performance certainly contributed to its success. The actor also appeared in a few episodes of Dexter back in Season 7, playing a Ukrainian mob boss named Isak Serko. The later seasons of Showtime's serial killer drama might not be the most well-regarded by fans, but Stevenson's performance was praised, and even earned him a Saturn Award nomination for Best Guest Actor in a Television Series. Stevenson had a knack for playing compelling bad guys, and he brought these sensibilities to the galaxy far, far away for Star Wars Rebels, which saw him voice the treacherous Mandalorian Gar Saxon. Fans of the sci-fi franchise can also look forward to seeing him play a character named Baylan Skoll on Disney Plus's upcoming Ahsoka series, which is set to premiere this August. Disney and Lucasfilm haven't released a lot of information about this character yet, but he is expected to be a villainous brute. When we sit down to watch celebrities at the movies or on TV, we tend to develop special, and sometimes surprisingly deep, bonds with them over time. So when they're gone too soon, it can be devastating for fans, especially when we don't even realize we've lost them and don't find out until after the fact. You may not know some of these actors by name, but you almost certainly know many of their faces, and you may well have been personally affected by some of their work. A number of your favorite movies or shows feature actors that have been taken from the world well before their time, and with that in mind, we're taking the opportunity to pay tribute to those two brief legacies with a look at some of the many celebrities who have passed away before their time and may not have gotten a proper send-off from the public, speedily assembling a resume as long as your arm long before most of us even know what we want to do with the rest of our lives. Jonathan Brandis showed up in Who's the Boss?, Blossom, Lay, Law, Full House, The Wonder Years, and Murder, She Wrote, among tons of others. As a child and teenage star for many years, it seemed like he had no shortage of work. He was 16 when he made Ladybugs, and 17 when he was cast as a teen genius in Steven Spielberg's SeaQuest 2032. When SeaQuest was canceled in 1996, however, the once plentiful casting offers dried up. As has been the case with far too many former child actors, depression soon plagued the young star, and he struggled to navigate a new career path. Brandy's battle sadly got the best of him, and he died after sustaining injuries from an attempted suicide via hanging at the age of 27 in Los Angeles, California. If you or anyone you know is having suicidal thoughts, please call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline by dialing 988 or by calling 1-800-273-TALK. Brad Renfro skyrocketed to fame at age 11 through his acclaimed work in Joel Schumacher's adaptation of The Client by John Grisham. High-profile roles quickly followed, and Renfro made appearances in Sleepers opposite Brad Pitt, Ghost World alongside Scarlett Johansson, and The Informer starring Kim Basinger. Yet as his star continued to rise on screen, Renfro faced a darker path behind the scenes, one that would ultimately see him fulfilling the sad destiny of many child actors, plunging into a life of illegal drug use and trouble with the law. After pleading no contest to attempted possession of heroin, a charge he incurred when he tried to buy drugs from an undercover lab police officer, Renfro spent 10 days in jail. On January 15, 2008, at 25 years old, Renfro's turbulent story reached a tragic end when he was found dead of an accidental heroin and morphine overdose in his apartment in Los Angeles. If you or anyone you know is struggling with addiction issues, help is available. Visit the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration website or contact SAMHSAS National Helpline at 1-800-662-HELP. After rising to fame in 1995's cult classic Clueless with the famous line "You're a virgin who can't drive," Brittany Murphy offered strong performances in Girl Interrupted, Drop Dead Gorgeous, 8 Mile, and Sin City, and while her star profile waxed and waned more than once during her career, she always seemed to have incredible potential. Sadly, that big breakthrough role that often felt like it was just over the horizon for Murphy would never get a chance to materialize. Murphy was the breadwinner of the family, as she cared for her mother, a breast cancer survivor, and her husband, Simon Monjack, who suffered from frequent seizures and heart troubles. While the circumstances of her death are suspicious, Murphy was declared dead on December 20, 2009, due to pneumonia, anemia, and multiple drug intoxication. It is unclear whether toxic mold also played a part in her untimely death at age 32, as her husband was found dead in the same house 5 months later. Lee Thompson's young star vehicle, the famous Jet Jackson, was a very popular show on the Disney Channel for some time, and found the young up-and-comer working alongside Rachel McAdams, who at the time was also a rising star. Like a lot of budding Hollywood hopefuls who latch on with the Disney machine, Young was able to use Jackson as a springboard into other projects. Friday Night Lights, Aquila and the Bee, and The Hills Have Eyes 2 are some of the few films later added to Young's brief but impressive resume. Sadly, his promising career would soon be cut short. Young was diagnosed with bipolar disorder while working as a series regular on Rizzoli and Isles, and like many people who have the condition, he struggled with the symptoms. On August 19, 2013, his life came to a tragic end after he committed suicide with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Best known for playing Carol Ann from the movie Poltergeist, Heather O'Rourke skyrocketed to instant fame as the sweet young girl that terrified audiences after being sucked into the television set. In fact, she may have played the part a little too well, although O'Rourke racked up an impressive list of credits after her breakthrough performance as Carol Ann. She remained tied to the franchise in the public's mind, and she was one of a very small number of original cast members that remained with the movie series until its conclusion with 1988's Poltergeist 3. If you've seen the final movie, you may notice that Heather's cheeks appear very puffy, and although audiences didn't know it at the time, it was a reaction to the medication she was taking for Crohn's disease, with which she was misdiagnosed. Tragedy struck on February 1, 1988, when Heather suffered from cardiac arrest while undergoing a surgery for a bowel obstruction at the tender age of 12. Dana Plato played Kimberly Drummond in the long-running hit television series Different Strokes. Cast alongside fellow child stars Gary Coleman and Todd Bridges, she was catapulted to instant stardom. To cope with the mounting pressures of fame, Plato often indulged in cocaine and marijuana off the set. Yet it wasn't until she became pregnant that the network released her from her contract, helping trigger a downward spiral of drugs and alcohol that included work in adult films and a spread in Playboy magazine. Plato's fellow Different Strokes castmates had their own struggles after the show ended, but her trajectory took an even darker turn. She later moved to Las Vegas, where, desperate for cash, she robbed a store for less than $200 and was bonded out of jail by Vegas entertainer Wayne Newton. She died at the age of 34 on May 8, 1999, in her RV in Oklahoma after taking a fatal dose of Lortab and Valium. Harold Ramis was 69 when he passed away from an autoimmune disease in 2014, which in and of itself might have come as a surprise to many of the film fans, who watched him in 80 Seconds classics like Stripes, National Lampoon's Vacation, and Ghostbusters. A talented director and screenwriter as well as a frequent fixture in some of the biggest comedy hits of the decade, Ramis' behind-the-scenes talents helped bring us Groundhog Day and Caddyshack, among many others, in fact. He jumped back and forth between either side of the cameras throughout his career, co-writing both of the Ghostbusters movies as well as Stripes. Although few fans knew he was ill, Ramis struggled with the side effects of his infection for years. He had to learn how to walk all over again after contracting autoimmune inflammatory vasculitis in 2010 and suffered a relapse the following year. His final on-screen appearance came in the 2009 comedy Year One. Best known for her work starring as Mel Gibson's daughter in the blockbuster The Patriot, Skye McCole Bartusiak was a child actor with a promising future. She made her film debut in The Cider House Rules in 1999 and starred with Michael Douglas and Brittany Murphy in Don't Say a Word in 2001. She also appeared in the film Kill Your Darlings with True Blood star Alexander Skarsgård in 2006. Unfortunately, Bartusiak's life behind the scenes wasn't as glamorous as fans might have assumed, and included some dangerous habits that would end up contributing to her untimely demise. The combined drug cocktail of hydrocodone, the refrigerant difluorothane, and the muscle relaxer carisoprodol led to an accidental overdose in 2014. According to Bartusiak's mother, the young star had also been suffering from epileptic seizures prior to her passing, which led the family to initially believe she choked to death before the coroner's ruling made the tragic truth clear. The 1982 film Poltergeist was a smash horror hit that launched a franchise, but behind the scenes, there were so many troubling stories after the film wrapped that talk eventually spread of a curse affecting the cast. In addition to young Heather O'Rourke, who passed away in 1988 at the age of 12, another actor from the film also met an early demise. Dominique Dunne was born into a life of privilege in Santa Monica to a ranching heiress and TV writer and producer Dominique Dunne. Dominique got off to a fast start in Hollywood, compiling a list of early credits that included appearances in the TV shows Chips, Fame, and The Quest. Poltergeist might have been her big breakthrough, but it sadly wasn't to be. The same year the film arrived in theaters, her deranged ex-boyfriend, John Thomas Sweeney, murdered her in her own driveway in West Hollywood on November 4, 1982. Laser Robin Kelly made audiences laugh for several seasons as part of the ensemble cast of Fox's long-running hit sitcom, That 70 Seconds Show, but behind the scenes, her real life wasn't funny at all. Kelly's lengthy battle with drug and alcohol addiction wasn't completely hidden from fans. Her struggle with sobriety played out in public during her time on That 70 Seconds Show and ultimately cost her her job on the series, derailing what seemed to be a promising career and setting up the dark final chapter of her too short life. After making various attempts to triumph over her problems with substance abuse over a period of years, Kelly checked into rehab in August 2013. Unfortunately, her decision to get clean turned out to be too late to save her from the disease. After checking in, Kelly passed away in her sleep due to complications from an accidental overdose. She was only 43. Thai Trang was best known for her work as the original Yellow Ranger on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, but unlike a lot of actors who start out in genre TV, she seemed in no danger of being typecast. In fact, she was developing what seemed like a potentially promising career after leaving the show. Trang jumped right into feature work, landing roles in a pair of movies released in 1996, the comedy Spy Hard and the dark drama The Crow, City of Angels. Clearly, Trang had enough chops to tackle work from a variety of genres, but sadly, she never had a chance to fulfill that potential. She was killed in a car accident at the age of 27 in 2001 after the driver lost control of the vehicle and it plunged over a guardrail on California's Interstate 5. Emergency medical personnel tried getting Trang to the hospital, but she died in transit, the result of massive internal injuries. Michael Clarke Duncan's imposing bulk and towering physique made him a natural for big guy roles, but under that impressive glower, he really had dramatic chops, and unlike a lot of actors booked for that strong but silent type of part, he got a chance to display that dramatic breadth on multiple occasions, and he made the most of each one. Clarke's too brief filmography includes an admirably eclectic array of roles, including memorable supporting turns in Armageddon and Daredevil, as well as a beautifully sensitive starring performance in the big screen adaptation of Stephen King's The Green Mile. Although he initially appeared destined for a career of character actor roles, Duncan's Oscar-nominated Green Mile performance proved he had the potential for leading parts. Indeed, Duncan seemed poised for decades of box office success and critical acclaim, and he should have had a much longer career, but he was felled by a heart attack in 2012 at the age of 54.